First day in Ghana, 6th January 2023, early morning. I made some rounds in town before I quickly had to come back home and then catch the flight. So this is Accra, last days in town. My sister drove me to the airport. My mom was on the right. My younger sister was on my right as well. This Accra, Accra International Airport, I was in a queue. So I had to do some bag weighing and all that, make sure your bag was weighed rightly, and then the weight you're carrying was sufficient or good, and then you go. So this was me. I don't even know what I was doing there, but I was just excited. It was my first time. So my mom was taking a video from afar. Right, so I was still in the queue to be able to get my bag tagged so that it can get to the final destination. Right, so I was heading to C3 to board my flight after getting my bag tagged and everything. So I asked for the direction, and the security there helped me. They pointed out to me that C3 was on my right, so I started walking to the gate. That C3 is the gate, so that is where you are going to enter through the tunnel and then enter your plane. Okay, so I just followed a lot of people who were going in that direction, and most of them were going to C3. There's C3, C4 and all that, but C3 was going to Amsterdam. Okay, so I just followed along. Right, so at this time I'd entered the C3 gate to board the KLM flight to Amsterdam. This was one guy I was just following. I was right behind him, so I was just recording from behind him. And at this point in time, we were in the plane. We were trying to find our seats because you have to book a seat on the internet online before you get here, so that it doesn't become confusing. Just walk straight to your seat. Otherwise, you have to sit elsewhere, any seat that is free. So I sat down at 39A on KLM flight, which is at the left side of the plane, and there were two other girls on my right side. And every seat has a screen behind it, so you can play with it. You can either watch movies, you can play games. So I started exploring the screen device. I decided to play games, and then later on I watched movies because I didn't want to start a movie. And I mean, when everything is dark, everywhere is dark, and it has a cinematic environment, that's when I wanted to watch a movie. So I was just playing Angry Birds. Right, I was just testing it out. That was the first thing I did on the screen, and then I also played golf later on, which you'll see. So at this point, lights were off inside the plane, and we're just about to take off. And I was playing golf. I was really bad at it because I hadn't played this type before. You see my very bad shots very soon here. I didn't know how to go about it. So at this point in time, we're 2 minutes in the air. I decided to take a shot of Accra. 11 p.m. We actually delayed. Okay, we're about 45 minutes late because we were supposed to take off around 10:15 p.m. Okay, so we were leaving very late, and the pilot had to really speed up and catch up. I don't know whether that's a river in Accra. I don't know what that is, but that place is dark. Right, so lights were off. People started watching movies. I was watching a Hindi movie actually. Someone was watching Woman King, others were watching series, and they brought the first meal on the KLM flight, which was looks like aprepensa, but I finished everything together with the beans. And that thing there is chocolate. I don't know, it's chocolate whipped cream or something. At this point in time, we had entered Europe, around Spain, an island called Palma also. Most people were really sleeping, and I mean, the way the plane can be quiet, you might just have to fall asleep. So I decided to explore the real-time map on my screen. There was Tarzan, there was games, but I wanted to explore the moving map because that was the first time I'd seen such a thing. I think this technology is quite new. So I was just exploring around, zooming in, zooming out. That's Palma. We're heading towards Barcelona. We had just come out of Africa. We're on the Alboran Sea. So you can zoom in, you see the plane in 3D. This is a 3D model of the plane. Is that the Balearic Sea? Something like that. So we're just going. We had crossed the Saharan Desert, and you could see that those places were empty. They were just plain. You could tell that they didn't have houses below. And I want you to check this out. You have a wide range of options from which angle you want to be viewing your plane. You can choose a night mode and it turns everything into dark. Okay, so from here you can explore even the distance of the plane from the city. So you could see that Accra had some distance away from it. So when I zoom in here, you see that Accra, we're about 2,300 miles and 3,700 kilometers away from Accra. Now you see Amsterdam is reducing from 1530 to 1529. Do you see that? It means that we are getting closer to Amsterdam. So it updates in real time for you to see, which is very, very interesting. I don't think we had this like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 6 years ago. I don't think we had it. Right. So I was watching the right side of the plane, and then you can also check out the left side of the plane, which I was. So you can see it in 3D mode, and you can also see the plane moving. You actually see it moving. Right. I also was trying to explore cockpit where the pilots are, and then you can have a view of their view. Whatever they are seeing, you can see a similar thing. Okay. So if you love geography, if you love engineering, you enjoy this part of the video the most. And you enjoy innovation, right? Okay, just like I do. So that's it for the plane area. I struggled to take a video of this bread, because how can I be taking a video of bread? But I had to have it on record for you guys. Bread, ham and cheese and all that. Now we're landing in Amsterdam, Netherlands. The airport called Schiphol is the second largest airport by far, as I learned. And we are just landed around 5:50 a.m. in Amsterdam. It took about 6 hours and some minutes for the entire flight. Okay, so I was now leaving the Amsterdam flight to wait for the next flight, which was about 6 hours, extra 6 hours of waiting. Okay, so it can be very tough, stressful, tiring and all that. So if you are going to go, you should be prepared to be tired. Okay, that's why you have to be sleeping in the plane. So during the waiting hours, I didn't even sleep, and I had to walk all the way to my gate. This is Amsterdam. I was just looking around. First time being in the Netherlands. It was now daytime. Do you see? It was 5:50. It's now daytime. I couldn't even sleep. I was just looking around, and they have this massaging device at Schiphol Airport, where if you are tired, you just slot in €2 and then it massages you. You are good to go. So there are people there who are using it, and we're on board for our next flight. We're now going to Minneapolis, St. Paul. So this was when we're leaving Netherlands to the USA. Okay, so Minnesota, USA. Yeah, that's the gate. Then you enter and you're good. So yeah, I entered quite early. So you see there are not a lot of people here. We're now leaving Amsterdam, waiting for passengers to come on board. People are still coming. And then I also started exploring their screen. This was Delta Airlines. So the first one was KLM, this was Delta. They have the same movie and all that because they have a partnership, so almost everything is the same. They also had the same setting screens behind seats. We're now taking off straight to America using our Delta airline. It was very, very interesting. I decided to intentionally record the full movement of the plane from the ground up. You see how it takes its time to lift off, and that was it. We were leaving Amsterdam, and in the space of a few seconds, all the buildings are just below you. Just a few seconds and all the buildings are below you. It's amazing. You should see it. For those of you who will be traveling very soon, you see what I'm talking about. And I don't know whether those buildings were situated on water. I don't know. It just looks like. So I was trying to zoom in and see what it really was. So here we were above the clouds. We were still in Netherlands, and they brought this meal. This was now American food and some Asian food. And I finished everything. Now we went above Great Britain, and they brought some ice cream. It was all part of the food. We're still going. We passed over Iceland. At this time we were flying over Canada, Ontario province. We're just about to enter US. It took like forever because you are always anticipating when you are entering US, and you can always use the map to update yourself. So the second meal was also brought Asian chicken, spring roll, and passion fruit mousse, which I carefully opened and consumed everything. In fact, I ate everything on the flight. I needed to try everything, so I ate everything, and all was foreign meal, nothing Ghanaian, not even the one that left Accra. So now we're in Minneapolis, and this was my first sighting of snow. When I saw snow for the first time, but I hadn't come into contact. I was just zooming in to see the snow and then zooming out. That's one of their stadium for their football. Minneapolis St. Paul is a twin city. So now we're landing in Minneapolis, USA. It was a smooth landing. The pilots are very good at what they do. Both flying and landing was all smooth. Very, very, very smooth. So my last flight was to Fargo, North Dakota, and I was getting off the flight. We're now in Minneapolis, so I was now stepping on American soil for the first time. People were getting off and all that, so you just had to wait for people to get off, and there I was going out. I hope so far you're enjoying. If you're enjoying, kindly subscribe. And here we're supposed to pass through customs at the port of entry. For security reasons, I couldn't take videos there because you can't. And now I'm in my last flight to Fargo. It was evening, and this is a smaller plane because the flight is domestic. Okay, and we flew around 7 p.m. and in 45 minutes we're in Fargo. From Minneapolis to Fargo was just about 45 minutes. We're now in Fargo. You can see on the map, it's always updating in real time. Yeah, we're just landing in Fargo. And yes, so I was now going for my bag, and today I'm here in Fargo. Last one. I'm just trying to test my vapor skills. When you open your mouth, the vapor just comes out. All right, so thank you very much for watching. I'm now in Fargo. A friend came to pick us up. We saw rabbits running around, and I learned they were so common. I was seeing squirrels and all that. Burger in USA. Thank you very much for watching.